A Husband's 26-Year Vigil, how Satoru Takaba preserved a crime scene to solve the murder of Namiko Takaba. In November 1999, the quiet city of Nagoya was shaken by a tragedy that would leave a family devastated and a community searching for answers. Namiko Takaba, a resident of the city, was brutally murdered inside her apartment under circumstances that baffled authorities at the time. Her husband, Satoru Takaba, was left reeling from the sudden and incomprehensible loss of the woman he loved. Faced with unimaginable grief, Satoru made a decision that would define the next quarter century of his life. He chose to keep the apartment exactly as it had been on the day Namiko was killed. Satoru understood that the apartment might hold crucial evidence, traces of the crime that could help investigators one day find the killer. And so, even though his wife was gone, he continued paying rent month after month, year after year, determined to preserve the space in its original state. It was not an easy task. Over more than 26 years, he spent roughly 22 million yen, equivalent to around 120,000 euros to 145,000 euros, to ensure that the apartment remained untouched. Every detail mattered. The arrangement of furniture, the smallest items in the room, even the dust on surfaces, all preserved as potential evidence. To Satoru, these were not mere objects, they were fragments of a day that had forever changed his life, and possibly the key to justice for Namiko. Throughout those years, Satoru's life was marked by patience, endurance, and quiet determination. Friends and neighbors often saw him as a man carrying an invisible burden, but few could fully understand the depth of his commitment. While time moved on around him, Satoru remained tethered to the apartment, hoping that advances in forensic science would one day allow the case to be solved. He endured the emotional strain of living with grief every day, all while maintaining the apartment as a time capsule, a frozen scene of crime that refused to yield its secrets without care and dedication. By the mid-2020s, forensic science had made dramatic leaps. DNA analysis techniques had become far more sophisticated, capable of detecting and analyzing microscopic traces of biological material that were once impossible to identify. Investigators revisited cold cases across Japan with renewed hope, applying these cutting-edge techniques to unsolved murders, including the case of Namiko Takaba. When authorities examined the preserved apartment, they discovered genetic evidence that had remained untouched for more than 2 decades. Thanks to Satoru's meticulous care, the traces of the killer's presence had been preserved perfectly. The investigation led to a remarkable breakthrough. In late 2025, a 69-year-old woman named Kumiko Yasufuku was arrested in connection with Namiko's murder. The preserved DNA from the apartment had finally provided the link that authorities needed, allowing decades-old suspicions to be confirmed and finally bringing the case to closure. For law enforcement, it was a rare instance where patience, modern science, and human dedication intersected to solve a case that had long seemed impossible. For Satoru, the arrest represented not just the culmination of an investigation, but a deeply personal triumph. After years of grief, financial strain, and emotional toil, justice for his wife had been achieved. The story of Satoru and Namiko Takaba stands as one of the most extraordinary examples of devotion, resilience, and the pursuit of justice in modern criminal history. It highlights the critical role of persistence in preserving evidence, the transformative power of advances in forensic science, and the length one individual can go to honor the memory of a loved one. Satoru's decades-long vigil reminds the world that sometimes justice requires more than investigation. It demands unwavering hope, patience, and the courage to act when no one else can. Through his dedication, a cold case that had haunted a family for over a quarter century was finally solved, proving that time, grief, and even distance cannot prevent the truth from being revealed.